Janevelezmitchell here with Jane Unchained. We've got breaking news for you.
Don't buy the humane line!
Animals do not want to die!
And our mascot, Little Rico, is here to remind us that when we talk about animals, we talk about sentient beings. We all love our dogs and cats, but other animals deserve our compassion. In this case, we're talking about hens.
She's not doing so well. We're going to try and get her the best veterinary care we can as soon as possible.
Straight out to Donnie Moss of theirturn.net. Donnie, what is the breaking news?
Jane, Direct Action Everywhere, based in Oakland, California, did an investigation. They visited, for about 15 times, they visited a farm for egg-laying hens in California. And what they found is really disturbing.
There's so much dust and soot that it actually hurts our eyes. So we just found her sprawled out on the ground. She's in really bad shape.
And this is a farm that supplies eggs to Whole Foods, which claims to treat their animals humanely and with compassion.
This, and not Whole Foods fantasy, is a reality.
I want to go to our very special guest, Wayne Shung, who is a co-founder of Direct Action Everywhere. And along with being an animal activist, you are also an attorney and a former law professor. So, Wayne, you led the teams into this farm. Tell us what you say you saw.
Jane, we found horrendous conditions inside this farm, including mutilated hens, hens suffering from disease, and dozens of hens dying or dead.
I mean, for her to get this in, she's not been right for at least the last couple of weeks. The prognosis overall is really, really poor. She is suffering at this point.
Every single time we went into the facility, we found the same stressful, filthy conditions, and we felt the public had a right to know what was actually happening inside this so-called humane supplier of Whole Foods.
It's not food!
It's violence!
Now, Whole Foods has issued a statement. And essentially what they say, and I'm reading from the statement, is that we, meaning Whole Foods, visited Petaluma Farms last year and did not see conditions as portrayed in the video. They claim that what you did presented a distorted picture of our animal welfare standards. And they add that since 2004, we have sold cage-free eggs exclusively. But they also say they recognize there are additional opportunities for improvement. So, Wayne, what is your response to the Whole Foods statement?
Whole Foods statement is just flatly false. We visited over 15 of the barns out of approximately 20 on the facility and found the same atrocious conditions in all 15.
We're going to try and do what we can to help this little girl. I don't even know. Touching her is a good idea because it looks like one of her wings is seriously injured.
Now, they might have done as a PR opportunity for the farm a visit where an executive came and visited a couple of hens and chickens for purely press and public relations purposes, but the reality of this farm is that it's filled with atrocious conditions, distressed hens, and death and mutilation.
The owner of the farm says the farm maintains a full-time veterinarian, consulting nutritionists, and innovative cage-free farming methods that allow hens to exhibit natural behaviors. So what is your response to the statement of the farm itself?
That statement, Jane, is a fantasy. There were hens in extreme distress, and the hen that we found, Mei Hua, who was suffering from starvation, head trauma, and dehydration, who had been languishing for probably weeks. We took her to a veterinarian immediately after we found her. The veterinarian said she had probably been starving for weeks and had lost 2/3 of her body weight, was found from one of their egg facilities. And so the truth of this farm is that it's filled with violence. And again, I think most of the welfare reforms that have been propagated by industry over the past 10, 20, even 50 years are fraudulent, frankly. I think there are deceptive practices at issue here, and I'll give you just two concrete examples. The first is mass mutilation. On all so-called cage-free humane facilities, animals will still be mutilated. And mutilation obviously is not a very pleasant experience. It's not done with anesthetic. They're taking body parts like beaks and testicles that are very sensitive and filled with nerve endings. And the second example I'll give you, and the reason they have to mutilate the animals, is confinement. So in California, we have a new law called Proposition 2 that claims to increase the space that animals are living under. But the fact of the matter is, giving animals enough space to stand up or turn around does not mean they're free from intense confinement. The animals in this facility passed Prop 2 by flying colors, but yet they were still confined in cages of flesh. The cages of flesh have replaced the cages of wire.
Now, Whole Foods says We've always advocated for the humane treatment of farm animals and product transparency. It's unfortunate this group is singling out Whole Foods because they want to sort of have the moral high ground here. Your thoughts?
Jane, Whole Foods is lying to its customers. I'm a Whole Foods customer myself, and when I go into the Whole Foods in Union Square in New York City, there's a massive poster of a woman outdoors holding a chicken lovingly in her hands. And the customers who go to Whole Foods will be tricked into believing that the chickens that they buy and that the eggs that they buy from hens are treated with this kind of care and compassion. It's not only misleading, it's an outright lie. So I understand why Direct Action Everywhere are entering these stores, agitating, disrupting, and getting people to pay attention to the truth about what really happens to these hens in these so-called cage-free farms.
Any representative of Whole Foods and Petaluma Farms, you're invited on this show, janeunchained.com, and I'm sure that holds true for theirturn.net at any time. Boy, we have questions to ask you. We'd love to talk to you about these issues.
The public has a right to know what's happening behind these closed doors. The public has a right to know what they mean by good values. And what we found is not good values.
As a vegan, a person who does not eat any animals and doesn't wear any leather, I take that position because I don't think there's any kind way to kill an animal, certainly thousands of animals, certainly millions of animals. And in this country, we raise and kill about 9 billion animals for food every year.
It's not food!
It's violence!
So I get the sense that you're saying, Wayne, that people are being lulled into a false sense of security when they see things like, oh, humane, they hear those words. It kind of reminds me of the word natural. Natural means nothing. There are products filled with toxic chemicals that say natural. Yep. What I look for when I look at labels is the cruelty-free label. That truly says that there are no toxic chemicals in whatever it is you're buying, because if they can't test it on animals, it can't be toxic.
And I think something you said about Prop 2 earlier, that it's a sign of the progress in this nation, I agree with. But the key thing is the progress that we've achieved with Prop 2 can't stop there, because those of us who actually care about animals know that we have to go far beyond that, that even so-called humane farms involve incredible cruelty. And the best way for us to stop this is to educate and empower ourselves. We need to know what's actually happening. America is a nation of animal lovers. It's not just you and I. It's people across this country who care deeply about the suffering of animals. We don't want to see these animals harmed. But big corporations and big agricultural interests have an interest in suppressing the truth of what's actually happening. We need to challenge these companies with the truth. And if we can do that, we can make revolutionary change for animals.
Whole Foods paints itself as, well, we still serve animal products. We still sell meat. We sell eggs. But we kind of do it in a nicer way. And this entire investigation is kind of challenging that.
They perhaps could market their food as slightly less inhumane, but for them to have a sign above a refrigerator filled with animal parts that says animal compassion, they need to be called out on it, as Wayne said, and they need to be called out on it in a provocative way. In any social justice movement, Wayne points out, successes have been achieved when people agitate and disrupt, and when activists like us exit our comfort zones. And so what was once sort of a rare approach to animal rights activism is becoming mainstream, thanks in large part to the efforts of Wayne and Direct Action Everywhere, and as I said, collectively free right here in New York City. It feels like a revolution. It's very exciting.
They tell us they love animals. They say to us that they treat animals humanely. But I have walked behind their closed doors, and there is nothing there that is humane.